Chapter 57. The Unborn. Boom. At Gu Hai's command, Gao Xianzi probed his hand and took out his own golden chess piece. Steeply summoning Yinglong, he swooped down while it was there. Huiyu. All around, a large number of cloud beasts made way. At the place of a valley below, the disciples of the One Piece Hall were all cut off by one of the peacock plumes of the great brightness king god and fell to their deaths to become meat cakes. But there was a bloodied figure that wasn't dead at the moment. But it was Meng Tai. Meng Tai kept swallowing pills while crawling to his lower body, and actually rejoined the two halves of his body as he swallowed the pills. But after all, the waist has been cut off, the energy loss. At this moment, Meng Tai hard to climb to the forest. Nay, the place where he fell here was a bare valley, mostly rocks, so there was no cover, and he was seen by Gu Hai in the twinkling of an eye. Boom, Yinglong swooped down. No, Meng Tai's face changed wildly. Boom. Yinglong's dragon claws grabbed Meng Tai and rushed up into the sky, heading towards the place of dark clouds high in the sky. Let go of me. Let go of me. Meng Tai's face showed a look of anxiety. Never before had he been in such a sorry state. Never before. It was so close. He was so close to dodging. Who? In the twinkling of an eye, Meng Tai was brought before Gu Hai. Ha, Rudder Master Meng. A cold light flashed in Gu Hai's eyes. Gu Hai, what do you want to do? I'm the Earth Helmsman of the One Piece Hall. If you dare to hurt me, you won't have a good ending. Meng Tai's face changed and said, I don't need you to say what will happen to me. Arresting you here is just to tell you, everything you did, I know. From instigating Song King Shu, I know. I gave Song King Shu a chance. Song King Shu didn't cherish it. Similarly, for the sake of fellow officers, I also gave you a chance. You didn't cherish it either. I don't want to say more. Die. Gu Hai coldly said. There Yin. Steeply, the fierce general's square heavenly painted halberd chopped towards Meng Tai. Wherever the blade went, a powerful killing aura came straight at him. Meng Tai's face changed. Wait. Do you want the entire clan to die? The square sky painting halberd stopped abruptly. The 9-5 Islands, the Songjia sect of the 9-5 Islands, has an appointment with us, and will soon make a move to unify the 9-5 Islands. All the major clans of the 9-5 Islands. Those who are obedient will live, and those who are disobedient will die, and the King sect will not be spared. If something happens to me, everyone in your Gu family will die. Meng Tai glared and roared. What? Chen Chanshan's face changed at the side. Gu Hai's eyes narrowed. HMPH. Bear Yin. The square heavenly painted halberd chopped down with a roar. No, boom. Meng Tai was split in half vertically as blood and internal organs exploded. Boom. Yinglong threw Meng Tai's corpse out. At this moment, there was no possibility for Meng Tai to be resurrected. Boom. Meng Tai's corpse landed on the ground and turned into meat paste. In the four directions, countless cultivators looked at Gu Hai with a chill. What exactly was Gu Hai's origin? Wasn't he a colleague with Meng Tai? Why is he so ruthless, not far away? Seeing the awe-stricken looks of the cultivators in the four directions, the Ninth Duke's face also looked ugly for a while. There are 100,000 cloud beasts here. 100,000 are. Then only Gu Hai with two subordinates and 100,000 cloud beasts. But they didn't dare to go forward. The Ninth Prince wanted to go forward, but the battle spirit of the group had been lost, and charging up by himself would not help at all. One man can't stop the other. Helmsman, what can we do now? Chen Chanshan looked towards Gu Hai. We're almost done. After we're done, go back to the 9-5 Islands right away, and inform Sovereign King to prevent Sovereign Songjia and the disciples of the One Piece Hall from plotting. Gu Hai said in a cold voice. One Piece Hall. That Hallmaster, Chen Chanshan said with an ugly face. The Hallmaster shouldn't know about this. It was Meng Tai and the others who decided privately. I think there must be some ulterior conspiracy. And the 9-5 Islands. Maybe there's something that others don't know about that makes them so attentive, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. What is there in the 9-5 Islands? Why did the helmsman kill Meng Tai just now? Chen Chongqun had an anxious look on his face. Meng Tai won't say anything. That look in his eyes already told me. If I listen any further, it's just a lie he made up. Might as well not listen, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Yes. Although Chen Chongqun didn't believe it, he could only nod his head at this moment. Bodhisattva Mercy Life, many thanks, Gu Hai said to the Mercy Life Bodhisattva not far away. I hope that Servant Master Gu didn't blame me. In the future, you will understand what kind of person Nu Wu is, at least. Even I am a junior. Haha. I've already got what I want, and I'm also going to say goodbye and leave the heavenly remnant realm. I should see you again soon. At that time, if I have a request, I'd like to ask Servant Master Gu to make it easy for me. Bodhisattva Mercy Life folded his hands and said, I can do that. I will certainly do my best, Gu Hai nodded. Mercy Life Bodhisattva nodded. By the way, Mercy Life Bodhisattva, I don't understand. Your Excellency and the Great Brightness King God. Why can they fly without the aid of cloud beasts? Could it be that your cultivation is not bound to the innate realm? Gu Hai finally wondered. Our cultivation is the innate realm. Mercy Life Bodhisattva laughed. HMM. Gu Hai looked at the Mercy Life Bodhisattva in confusion. One must know that the Great Brightness King God's combat power earlier was too ferocious. The Great Brightness King God didn't use all his strength earlier either. His cultivation is at the innate realm. But, fighting you, it's not about cultivation, it's about divine power. And divine power is also a form of strength, Mercy Life Bodhisattva explained. After saying that, Mercy Life Bodhisattva flew towards the distant exit. Divine aptitude. Gu Hai looked towards Chen Chongqun with a slight frown. Chen Chongqun was slightly bewildered and shook his head. I'm not sure. It seems like I've heard the Patriarch mention that demonic beasts come with natural divine aptitudes. I don't know about the rest. Gu Hai nodded. The 28 heaven and earth vertical and horizontal formation was set up and continued to wait for the arrival of the Unborn. Above a square, the Grand Elder and the sickly young man had been watching what had just happened. Empress Nuwa, why is Empress Nuwa in our little world? The sickly young man said with an ugly face. It's unclear, however. It seems that a thorough investigation is necessary now, the Grand Elder said in a deep voice. The sickly young man nodded and raised his head to look at the cloud mist formation high in the sky. His eyes narrowed as if he was about to strike. Buzz. Steeply. At the top of a mountain peak in the distance, the void was overlapping. After a ripple was superimposed, it formed a wave of air that rushed straight in all directions. The Unborn has come out. The sickly young man's face changed. Don't you follow? The Grand Elder said in a deep voice. As he spoke, the Grand Elder's figure swayed and flew off into the distance. Swoosh. Soon, the Grand Elder flew to the land of that mountain peak. On top of that mountain peak, in the midst of the void stacking up, a figure slowly walked out. The figure was wrapped in a long robe, only this robe was vertically split in half from the center, half black, half white. Black and white robe wrapped the whole body. The brim is wrapped head, can see only a pair of hands. But let the surrounding close to the cultivators a burst of surprise. The right hand of the black half of the robe, dry, as if deflated old man's right hand. There were even a lot of age spots floating on it. The left hand of the white half robe, tender, as if the left hand of a tender baby. Above light moist elasticity general tender. Black and white robes people out. The void ripples disappeared. At this time, a black-robed person flew in the distance. Unborn. Why did you come out? The black-robed man asked. The black and white-robed man, at the cloud formation in the sky, and then at the black-robed man. Grand Elder, someone is looking for me. Why didn't you remind me? After the black and white-robed man finished his sentence, countless cultivators around him stared wide-eyed. It was because his sentence, however, had two voices in general, one childish like a baby, and one old like a rotten one. One person speaking, two extreme voices. Unborn, steeply, someone reacted in surprise. Wow, countless cultivators in the four directions immediately looked over in surprise. One must know that Gu Hai's thousands of armies posing in formation wasn't the ultimate goal to find this person. High in the air, Gu Hai, Chen Chonchen, and Gao Xian's eyes lit up. Helmsman, was it really that last tale of New Wahoo that alerted the Unborn? Gao Xian's eyes lit up as he said. Finally, Chen Chonchen also said excitedly, because if they found the Unborn, then they could immediately return to the 9-5 Islands. In the distance, the black-robed Grand Elder was silent for a moment. You have your own matters. It is inconvenient for us to disturb. I don't need you guys to make decisions about my affairs yet, the black and white-robed unliving man said indifferently. As he spoke, the unliving man raised his head to the sky and looked towards the large formation. The large formation covered the interior, but Gu Hai had the feeling that the unliving man's pair of eyes had already seen himself through the large formation. Holding the 100 longevity peach tree hostage just to see me. Who are you? How do you know I'm in this realm? The voice of the Unborn came again. The overlapping voices of the old and the young sounded rather intimidating. I am the water rudder master of the first-class hall, Gu Hai. This time, I've come on behalf of the hall master to look for senior unliving person, Gu Hai said solemnly. Hall master of the One Piece Hall. Heh, she doesn't come to see me herself, but she still has to find someone to see me on her behalf. There seemed to be a hint of despondency caught in the unliving man's voice. Perhaps I am not the same person as the One Piece Hall master that senior understands. Gu Hai took a deep breath and said, Oh, who is it now? The unsurpassed man said indifferently. Long Wanjing should be the daughter of the Hall Master in Senior's words. Now, Long Wanjing is the new Hall Master, Gu Hai solemnly said. Daughter, Long Wanjing. Ha, ha ha. The girl is married after all. Who is her husband? The insane man said, with a hint of trembling in his voice. Gu Hai was suddenly silent for a while. What? Can't you say it? The unliving man said in a deep voice. No, Long Wanjing asked me to come here, to find Senior, to ask Senior to go out and help. Let me bring this. Gu Hai took out a small box with a deep breath. Who are you? The small box flew out steeply and flew towards the unseen. It landed in the unliving man's hands. Get out. Impossible. Unshengren. You promised the pavilion master. The Grand Elder was instantly surprised. The Unshengren opened the box, but saw that in the small box there was a hairpin, a very plain hairpin, being placed quietly. It was plain, without the slightest fluctuation of mana, and even hairy. This is what I gave to the girl back then. Didn't she throw it away back then? Turns out it was just to piss me off. She still kept it. Still kept it. Her. There was a hint of surprise in general in the voice of the Unborn. Elder, I'm sorry for your loss. Gu Hai took a deep breath and said. The figure of the unliving person who was grasping the hairpin gave a start and steeply looked at Gu Hai. Long Wanjing said that her mother died 20 years ago, and to this day, she can't find the murderer. That's why she wants to ask Senior to come out to the mountain, help her find her mother's murderer, and avenge her unjustly killed mother. I implore Senior to come out to the mountain, Gu Hai respectfully said. Everyone around had long since held their breath. The Unsheng looked at Gu Hai. What did you say? You say it again. I didn't hear you. Say it again. What happened to the girl? What happened to her? This hairpin should be Long Wanjing packed her mother's relics when packed too. I observe this small box maintenance. Her mother before she was born should be very careful to save the hairpin. Her mother was killed, and should die a very wrongful death, so much so that 20 years after the death of the murderer cannot even be found. So that is why I implore Senior to go out of the mountain to find the murderer for his mother. Revenge, Gu Hai said again. The girl was killed. The unsuspecting person suddenly shook his body, as if he was about to fall.